Okay, good morning everyone. I just want to welcome you for this half-day training session on E-Invoice, Essential and Guide for SME. Because since this company is considered as under SME, so it's quite suitable for this session to be held. Okay, now, first of all, I just want you all to do something for me. This is a icebreaker. Okay. I'm sure all you all heard about breathing technique. Slow breathing. Maybe we can do that first. We do maybe a few rounds or what. Okay. Or you can close your eyes. Close your eyes and then okay. You as I count, you breathe in. Okay. You breathe in as long as I count. Let's do a 5 count. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold first, then let go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's repeat again. Okay, breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. Release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay, you can stop now. Okay, now this is a very good technique for handling stress. Okay, in a really stressful environment, when you are overwhelmed, what you can do is just step aside, take a breather. It can be 5 seconds, it can be 7 seconds. Most of them they do a count. One of the methods of counting is you can do N of 2, 3, 4. Hold for another one, N 2, 3, 4, and then release N 2, 3, 4. This is for the 4 count. It can be 6 count, it can be 2nd count, depending on your lung capacity. Okay. Now, today's training is on E-Invoice, the essentials and guide for SMEs. Okay, I'm sure you all heard about the latest thing from the government about e-invoicing. Everybody is complaining, some are complaining, some are worried, all these things. So we will try to go through that today and see what we can learn from it, what we can get, what we can see if we can apply it in our work. Okay, now next. This is a short profile of myself. Okay, my name is Tony Ho. I am a chartered management accountant and also a member of American Institute of Certified Public Accountant and member of MIA. Okay, I have done a lot of things in finance. I've done management accounting, cost control, inventory management, performance management, risk management, data analytics, and my experience range from a wide range of industry. I started from automotive, then I went into pharmaceutical. After pharmaceutical, I went to healthcare. Healthcare is mainly on the medical apparatus, like gloves, masks, everything. Then prior to this, I was also in the auto chemical industry, manufacturing and trading. So this is roughly my experience. So just to inform you all, okay. Okay. Learning outcome is what you are going to get from this training. At the end of, let's say, today's training session, these are the few things that you should be able to understand, to get, to be able to have a clear picture of what e-invoicing is. Okay. Now, so at the end of today's 4-hour session, all participants should be able to, okay, 1, understanding what e-invoicing, the requirements by LHDM. There is a lot of requirements from LHDM. And then also the benefits. Okay. have a clear view of the process flow of invoicing, in ways of implementing it, and the various timeline. They have timelines. I think most of you might have heard about the timeline when you are required to comply with these requirements. Okay. Lastly, to know the implication on the business, it is going to impact greatly on the way we do business, the way business is run, how we comply with it, how we deal with our daily transaction with our customers, with our suppliers. So this is a totally different, I would say, a different way of managing tax. So basically, it's what our government want to do for e-invoicing is to close the gap of non-compliance in tax reporting. As we know, most of the European countries, Singapore, and the developed countries have already implemented e-invoicing. So I guess it's part of the natural process for our country also to move towards that. Okay. Okay, I will show. Okay, this is the model mapping, the module that we're going to go through today. Basically, we have module 1, which is the introduction. I will talk about introduction, the benefits, 1.3 non-compliance, 1.4 deadlines, 1.5 the documents involved, 1.6 sectors involved, and 1.7 the sectors that are exempted. Okay, first of all, before I continue, maybe I just remind there are some ground rules. If you need to go for a short break or what, you can do it discreetly and try not to take too long. And of course, handphone, you can put it to silent mode. And if you're required to answer your own phone, please do so, but do it discreetly. Okay, now let's continue. The mechanism, there are basically about 4. You have the overview, you have the mechanism via the MyEvoice portal, then you have the mechanism via API, and also the transaction, the main transaction e-invoice field, what is required you need to fill in the fields. Okay. Third one, the process. Module 3 is process. You already sub-module. The process, they are B2C, business to companies transaction. Then you have your self-bill, you have your foreign vendor, you have your foreign source income, you have employee perquisite. Employee perquisite is your staff claims, entertainment orders. Okay. You have disbursement and reimbursement. This disbursement and reimbursement is very tricky. You need to understand the process. Certain process you are not able to claim to so-called generate e-invoice. Okay. And the last one is a digital signature. Digital signature would be in the form of if I'm not mistaken, is QR code. Okay. Okay, now, e-invoice was started after Anwar took over the government. So there is a huge gap of non-compliance. Companies not reporting tax. There are cases where companies they kind of short declare their tax. I mean, in other ways, tax evasion. So one of the ways to close this gap is to force all business to have an online e-invoice. That means this e-invoice is recorded in income tax. So when income tax come in, when all these are all recorded there, so there's no way you can escape. If you have sales, you have to generate E-invoice. And in order for your company to report the profit, you have to also receive E-invoice from your supplier. So it's both sides, income, expense. There is an E-invoice there. So E-invoice is an official document for billing and for the customers, from the supplier and from our customer. So what if you have E-invoice to customer, but you don't have E-invoice for your expense? You cannot deduct the expense. Let's say I have an expense of 100 ringgit, but I don't have the E-invoice. So what you cannot deduct, because there is no record for you to deduct in the income tax there. So it's just that there is an in, there's an out. There is a matching process. So likewise, if you have E-invoice for your expenses, but you don't initiate E-invoice for your for your customer, then you have expense, but you have no income to deduct. So there's always an income and expense, a matching so-called concept there, so that you can at least. So in other way, income tax have a real time of your tax position. At any time, you know this is your sales, this is your expenses, this is your profit. So it makes the tax audit easier. So they have less process to do. Okay. So now, what is E-invoice? You must remember, E-invoice is not the old interpretation. Sometimes before E-invoice started, some companies, they do provide invoice, digital invoice, in the digital form. They will say that this digital invoice does not require any signature or something like that. So, but this is not invoice. It's just a format, and it's maybe a PDF, maybe a Excel, but it's in a electric form. That means I can send it to email. Okay, yeah, most of the time it's via email or online. But this is not E-invoice. E-invoice is actually a digital representation format of the transaction between vendor and buyer. Okay, it's everything the same. All the things inside E-invoice is the same as our traditional invoice. But the difference is it has a certain format. Like I said previously, I send you invoice. I send you invoice by email, by PDF. This is not considered an E-invoice because it's not validated. It's not verified. So, and LHDN insists there are only two formats they accept: JSON and XML. Okay, it's a format only accepted by LHDN for processing. That means when you send all the files to LHDN, it has to be in these two formats. Okay, I'll show you the sample of it here. Okay, this is actually a JSON format. It's a bit messy in the sense that it's like more like a programming language here. Next, you have, okay, this is, sorry, it's a bit not clear. This is the XML format. Okay, you can generate an XML format from an Excel worksheet. When you open the Excel worksheet, you can save as. Under the save as function, there is an XML format. So, for example, let's say you have done a report on let's say your details of your invoice, maybe your customer name, the date, invoice number, quantity, amount, and all those in a proper table form in Excel. But LHDN will not take that format because it is XLSX format. They will only take XML, so you will need to save as XML. Okay, we'll come to that. This is information for you all. At least you understand. Okay, 1.2. Okay. So far, how is it? Can you all follow? Okay. Next. The purpose of E-invoice is to reduce manual work and human error. Yeah, no doubt, yes, you can reduce that. But I would just like to inform you all that even though it will reduce manual work or human error, but there are a lot of additional processes that you need to comply. So that depends on the company's volume, the company's sales volume, the how strong are their IT department, and also how well are the staff trained. So if the implementation of e-invoice is not done correctly, there may be certain problems that you may have. Okay. Next is to efficient tax filing. Previously, that what we do now is when we do our company profit and loss, after we complete the profit and loss, we send it to our tax agent. Our tax agent will do the necessary tax filing, everything. Now, the thing is, most of the data is already up in the income tax file there. So you have, it's like they have advanced tax comp. At any point of time, Inland Revenue can do a quick tax estimate calculation based on your income and expense. Okay. Third one is to streamline operational efficiency. For companies which have huge transaction volume, this process will make the flow smoother. So that means when I generate any, for example, in ERP system, when you do your delivery, when you do your video, everything, you can automatically generate an invoice. Okay. From that invoice, they will meet the requirement where you can do an additional programming to link it to income tax. So whatever you generate here, it will automatically go to income tax there. Okay, I will explain that later. Now, next, this is to completely digitalize tax and finance reporting. They want to digitalize as much as possible. Whatever business transaction that you have is all in digital form. So now everything is, you will have less paperwork, a lot of digital form, digital format, digital reporting, everything is online. Okay. This is the compliance part. Failure to issue an invoice under Section 121D under Income Tax Act 1967 will result in a fine of not less than 200 and not more than 20,000, or imprisonment not exceeding 6 months or both for each non-compliance. For each non-compliance, that means if you have, this is what I understand. If you have maybe 5 invoices that you did not issue, and 5 times 200 are minimum. But my last check with SDN, they did state they are, since it 1st August will be the starting implementation date for companies that are 100 million turnover above, they did mention that they will be adopting a linear approach. That means I give you a chance. If you make a mistake, and if you generally say, admit that it's a mistake, there is a leniency there. They will not be so harsh because I guess they realize that a lot of companies, they are not ready. They are not sure what is going to transpire from this process. Okay. 20,000 each, remember, each. Okay. Important dates to remember. Basically, there are 3 main dates. 1st August, this coming 1st August will be for companies that are 100 million above. So banks, large MNC, all will be affected. So next one is SMEs, smaller ones that is about 25 to 100 million. Will be 1st January 2025. Not very long, no. It's a short while away. So And the rest it mean the rest is like people like opening sandwich shop, those who sell nasi lemak at the roadside, those people who do online trading, all this will come on 1st July. So, but keep in mind, these dates, especially for the second and the third one, will dependent. The implementation date they might differ, depending on how is the response, what they find out. Now they're going to implement on 1st August. I'm sure there will be a lot of bugs or maybe issues that will arise because income tax may have its problem, the company side may have their own problem, the linkage. Now they are only testing the linkage. How efficient is the linkage, what other problems that might arise, because this involves the whole of Malaysia. Can you imagine how many thousands of invoices going direct? Their infrastructure, how well the server is going to take it, what is the limit that they can take, you don't know yet. They claim that income tax claim that they can do a verification within a few hours. That's what they claim. That means when I send it in the morning, maybe by midday I should be able to get the certified, verified invoice. Okay. Documents for invoice. Basically, there are 4 documents only. Invoice, credit note, debit note, and refund note. Refund note is more like when you refund cash. You refund money or this. Okay, refund note. Of course, debit and credit note is more for your transactional recording. So when you're refunding, they say I'm refunding you certain amount of money. Then they have also a function there in the invoice that you can refund. You can take it under refund. So they basically the 4. Yes.
So means that we need to create a refund note.
No.
Keep the transactions.
Okay, that's easy. The concept is like this. It's very simple. I issue an invoice. This is my traditional invoice. What income tax requires is to upload this invoice to their portal. That means they want a copy of it. Okay, they want a copy of it where they can verify. They can say, okay, this is verified, and they have all those digital signature is correct, everything. Then they will reply you by email. Okay, it's verified. Then you can proceed. You can proceed to send your invoice to the customer. Same thing also. Either invoice or credit note or debit note or refund note. You can still use a traditional, but they have criteria what you need to put inside here. Which why I say that some cellphone companies, if your staff are not well trained, they are not aware of the main fields, they might have problem. They might miss this one, miss that one. If you miss any of the fields, your invoice may not be approved. So that is approval process. So which is making it very tight for certain companies. It can be a bit tight inside the process. Okay. This is a sample of a digital invoice. You have the name of the company, address, and the phone number, email. Then you have okay. This is your supplier TIN, tax income number, tax information number is your number. Let's say this is Obitech. You have the Obitech TIN number, Obitech registration number, Obitech SST ID, Obitech MSIC code, and all this. Then you have under here you have buyers, that means your customer. Same also, buyers TIN number, buyer's name, buyer's ID number, the address, the contact number, very detailed. They will require you to get the IC number, everything. So if this is a personal, if this is individual, they're talking about individual. Okay, then next to here, this is the E-Invoice number. And you have the number code, you have the identify number here, this is the number, and some are not applicable, the date and time. So it's very detailed, a lot of things inside there. Okay, then you have what you sell. What you sell also they have classification. If you sell handphone, they have a classification. Let's say handphone, the classification is 003, then you have handphone, you have the quantity, unit price, amount, discount, tax rate, tax amount. All this will go in a bit. That means that they consider they close all the loophole, they close everything. They close everything, so you have all this usual subtotal, total excluding tax, tax amount, total including tax, total payable amount. And these are the amount. Then as I said just now, they have QR code here. So the QR code here is for if you want, if the buyer want to scan, they can send and see the detail. Okay. Next, you have digital signature. You look at the digital signature, all the numbers. These are unique. This digital signature is unique to every invoice. Every invoice has a specific digital. So you have then the time. Again, then this document is a visual presentation of the invoice. So basically, what you do when you upload your data into income tax, then when they send back to you, when you print out, it's going to be something like this. This is the invoice, a sample of it. Okay. We talk about exempted. Not everybody is exempted. Because Malaysia here, there are certain people who are not exempted. For example, ruler and ruling chief. Former ruler and ruling chief. That means if I'm the Prime Minister, I'm exempted. If I'm the ex-Prime Minister, also I'm exempted. Okay, if I'm the current Agong and the ex-Agong, also exempted. So consort involve the wives, the consort of the ruler of state, consort of the former ruler of state. So for example, let's say if the Sultan has passed away, the wife all is also excluded. Okay, then you have government, you have state government, state authority, government authority, local authority. Basically, the government side is all exempted. So this is what they have provided. Even facilities provided by the government. They say the government have certain facilities like certain body also exempted. Okay, then consular officers and diplomatic officers also exempted. But likewise the other side compulsory. It's like everyone.
I mean for the exempted,
Yeah.
if we issue the invoice, it doesn't reflect the invoice.
No, they don't have, when they sell anything, let's say they sell anything, they have any transaction, they don't have to issue anything. And we also cannot issue to them. You understand? We cannot issue to them. They don't have to issue and they don't receive as well. Okay. Next, compulsory one is the association, body or person, branch, business trust, cooperative society, corporation, limited liability partnership, property trust fund, property trust, real estate investment trust, representative office and regional office, trust body. Basically, it's everybody under the sun except the one on the left-hand side. Okay, so now, before we go to 2.1, any questions? Yeah.
Just now for the extension, you said that like most of it is royal and
Yes.
and the government. They don't need to issue e-invoice for us. How if we receive an invoice from the government and how we want to
Yes.
report as an expense?
Yes. That will come under self-bill. Self-bill. You issue your own e-invoice. Okay, I give you an example. Okay, this one maybe I jump forward a bit. Let's say Alif has a claim of maybe 500 ringgit. He went to do some payment on behalf of the company. I have a claim in the course of doing business for the company, 500 ringgit. So he wants to claim from the company. So usually we claim under staff claim. Staff claim 500 ringgit, company will pay. Okay, now company is incurring expenses. But how do I e-invoice these expenses? Because ADIF is not required to issue e-invoice to our company, the company that it works with. What the company can do is, the company can self-issue e-invoice. They call it self-bill e-invoice. So that's where the complication is. You can receive official e-invoice from a customer, if like those customers who, for example, like staff claim, the company has to issue your own invoice so that the expense can be captured in the income tax rate. Otherwise, if you think, oh, never mind, it's okay, then you cannot claim. You are not able to claim because there's no expense to knock off your income there. So likewise, if like foreign vendors, you buy from India, they are not going to issue you an e-invoice. They are going to issue you a normal pro forma invoice or whatever invoice you use that. You issue your own e-invoice. So all the work comes back. That means an additional layer of process. No, last time I take the invoice, I key into my AP, it's done. No, now even though I key into my AP, but on the digital part, the income tax part there, the statutory body there, we don't have the expense there. So when they compare your P&L and your tax statement there will be difference one. Who will they follow? They will of course take the one they have, e-invoice that they have, the records that they have at their portal. They will not take your P&L. Previously, the process is different. We do a P&L, we get the tax agent to complete, then we submit. Now it's different. Now they have already a copy of your tax, so-called tax computation in advance. They will know when and where, half yearly, what's the tax payable to the country, to the income tax. So these are the things that changes. Unfortunately, we are a bit late because most of the other countries they have already started. Europe, they have started. It started in Europe, where because in Europe there they have a lot of business dealing between B2G, business to government. So they have this so-called platform. They call it PEPOL. We will come to that later. PEPOL is like an ISO standard used to manage all this e-invoicing. It's something like you have ISO 1000, the kind of the standard where everybody follows. So there, PEPOL is one for e-invoicing. So basically, you have a few platforms. There are some platforms they call it non-PEPOL. Non-PEPOL is another different platform. But the accepted ones are PEPOL. That means under that they have certain regulations that you need to follow. So it's sort of like verified and safe platform to be. Okay. Okay, let's see. You can see not this one. Is it clear? Okay, this is a rough overview, general overview. So, first of all, number one, you issue an invoice when a sales of transaction is made. The supplier will create an e-invoice and share to Inland Revenue. Two methods. One is through my invoice portal. The other one is through API. API is automated process integration on the API. Where, okay, for example, what API does is, we have, for example, let's say we have auto count software here. Then API is the integration to income tax. Auto count programmer will have to program this API part so that the invoices that we generated here, we can automatically upload to income tax. But in doing the API, we're going to make sure that our invoicing here fulfills all the requirements. That means all the data is inside here, which is I guess you have realized that the past few weeks you have been receiving requirements of our TIN number, our business registration number from our customer or our supplier for them, so that they can, when they issue invoice, they can key in all this. So we have to share all the information to them. So all the details of our company tax, TIN number, business registration, SST number, whatever that's required. Okay. And number 2, we go to number 2 here. IRB will perform at real time. They claim it's a real time. To ensure that E-Invoice they must meet the necessary standard and criteria. Whatever they want, you must have that. Then once it's validated, once it's checked, I believe they will be doing they won't have human intervention to check. It's going to be all automated. So once the system see everything comply, the supplier, that means the one issuing the invoice, will receive a unique identifier number. So it's always wire IRB. That means you can, okay, I upload my e-invoice on my invoice portal, then after maybe a short while they reply, okay, this is the number, then you can go in and check. So this unique identifier number allows traceability. That means they need to trace. That means every transaction is a unique number so that they can trace. Like audit trail. So to avoid people from tampering, I issue this number under this number, then suddenly I change the invoice, but the number doesn't match. So it's to avoid that. Okay, number 2 done, then number 3. IRB will inform, income tax will inform supplier and buyer. I will send to say Obitech and also send to maybe our buyer in Malaysia, wherever it is, that the invoice has been validated, considered like a proof. Okay, then once we have the validation, we can share the validated invoice with the QR code. There's one, that's not the previous one. Then the QR code, this invoice, share with the buyer. So share with the buyer, and the QR code can be used to validate existence and status of the invoice via my invoice portal. So when for example, let's say I'm the customer, I receive the invoice, I have the QR code. The invoice, yes, is an invoice, but how do I know that this invoice is already in the income tax? I can scan the QR code, it automatically go to my invoice portal, it will show you that means it show you whatever that is recorded in income tax. That means there is a verifying process there. Okay. Number 5. Okay, now this is if you want, you don't agree with the invoice, you don't agree with the amount, you can still, you're given time about 72 hours. 72 hours to reject or buyer to reject. You say a buyer not happy with the invoice, I can reject within 72 hours. Or supplier want to amend a mistake, I can still amend within 72 hours. Rejection of request and cancellation must have justification. Why? So they will ask you why you want to cancel or you want to amend. So, and finally, consider that assuming that everything goes well, no cancellation, nothing, supplier and buyer will be able to obtain a summary of the invoice transaction. Okay, for example, let's say I have a few transactions, maybe the month or tens of transactions, 10 invoice. So the supplier or the buyer can, at the end of it, can go to my invoice portal and check. There is a summary. They will come up with a summary. What are the sales? Or in the case, what are your expenses? So it's something very new. So now we are waiting for the 100 million above. They are like the how to say, guinea pig. They test it out first, and I'm sure there will be issues. There will be issues. It can't be perfect. Everything smooth sailing, no. So moving forward, the next few months there will be more announcement. IRB will announce. Yeah, maybe they discover certain mistakes. They will announce how to go and correct it, and what are the new procedures. They might take out certain procedures and might add in new procedures. We don't know. So this is depending on how the thing moves. Okay. Basically it's the same, it's just like a more proper, so-called proper way of explaining the process. You see, okay, now I'm the supplier. Okay, you have to look at the number. It's a number. You go by the number. I'm the supplier. First, I issue invoice. I can issue invoice. I can issue a debit note or credit note. I can issue a refund or cancellation to my invoice portal. Okay, number two. The other way is to return. Okay, two is to return. Once it's validated, you return. See? 1, 2, return validated invoice. And but we have option B. This option B is where you go through API. Big companies which use transaction hundreds, thousands of invoices per month, sales of millions per month, they have to go to API. They cannot go to this normal portal. Normal portal is for company that 10 invoices per month. I can still upload manually. But for hundreds, 200, no way you can upload manually. Because uploading manually, if you do the direct way, they have 55 fields to fill. 55 fields, 55 blank fields for you to fill. 55 multiplied by 10 is 550 times you need to key in. There's only 10 invoices. If 100 invoices, there's no way human can do through this my invoice portal. This invoice portal is for a small company that don't have a budget for IT, they do a lot of things manually, they can do this. But for a huge company, they need to go to API. Okay, API is where it's an automated process from my software to income tax. Then I don't have to do all these things again. But there is a lot of verification. Initial process, when you do, you have to verify. You don't know how well the API is working. Some data might go through, some data may not go through. IRB say, I don't have. Some, then they say, I have, you don't have. I guess you're familiar with that. I have the data, you don't have the data. Then you'll fight over it. So, a lot of verification and reconciliation to do over here. Okay, these are different processes. This is manual, this is automated. So, number 3 is, of course, these processes are all at IRB, income tax validation. Then, once it's done, then number 4, you share the invoice with the supplier or the buyer. Same like what I explained. Then, number 5, if the buyer not happy, they can reject. Then, number 6, then you will receive the rejection notice. IRB will receive, then they will cancel then they will give a cancellation notification. 7, then you go to 8. 8 is where is 8? Stop at 7, there's no 8. Okay. Same. Then you have where is 8?
Storing.
Okay, storing here. Then 9 is more on the reporting. Reporting and dashboard. 9. So this actually is a flow. But the main idea here is what are the main process that we are concerned is option A and option B. We get through this. Normally, if under ideal circumstances, there should be minimal rejection or cancellation notice. There should be very minimal. This is continuation from there. Another one, okay. This is invoice workflow. Just now we have the slide before is showing both method API and the manual and automated. This is manual only. Okay, it's just a simple one. I issue an invoice, we validate. Then I get a return, then I share. After I share, if they are not happy, they reject. Then they will get a rejection, IRB will get a rejection, then you send a cancellation. Number 7, then once it's done, then you go to 8. Everything will go to IRB database. the process is here first. The process will run at the cloud here first. Once it's completed, then we go to the database. So you cannot run. The data is always there. IRB cloud is where the main thing are being run, being processed. So then we have, of course, validation notification. Once it's validated, then of course they are again, the repeat request for rejection of notification, cancellation of notification, all this. So basically they are additional work, additional verification, additional reconciliation work to do. So at the end of the day, is they just want everything to be on digital. They do not want people to evade tax or do not report tax or under-reporting. So basically they cover everybody in Malaysia. Which is why there are some parties, especially those opposition parties are trying to get the government to give some leeway for smaller micro SMEs, I think SME, the smaller one, which is maybe 100,000 per year, 100,000 per year turnover to be exempted. Because the cost involved in terms of IT, all this is quite huge. Not all companies can afford it. Okay, these are the process. These are the next few. In order to access my invoice portal, to get to the portal, you need to retrieve and verify your TIN number. Like for example, our TIN number is when we do our income tax, we go in, we key in our IC, isn't it? Our IC, then our login name is IC, then the password, then all the forms that we key in our income will come in. But this is similar to that is when you go in, you have to use my tax portal to check. You go to the my tax portal there and check. So check your TIN number. What is the TIN number? Let's say for BTEC, they have their own TIN number. You can go into my tax portal there to check first. Okay, once you do the checking, if you're unable to do that, unable to get your TIN number, what you can do is you log in. You use E-Daftar platform to initiate transaction and obtain the TIN. You can use E-Daftar. If you don't know what's the TIN number, or you don't have the TIN number, you can always use E-Daftar and initiate the registration and obtain the TIN number. So you got to log into my tax portal, choose the E-Daftar option, fill in the required fields, and search to register TIN. So these are process that we have to go into the online platform to see what's actually happening. At the end of this session, I will go through a PDF file which has all the screenshot of how you do an invoice. At least you have a rough idea what are the things you need to do. Okay. Now next is the creation and submission. So supplier to create a QE invoice and submit to IRB. Okay, these are the process again, same process. Okay, there are two methods: single and batch. If your invoice you have 3 invoices per month, you just do a single entry. That means you do 3 times entry. If you have maybe 10 or 20, you can do a batch. This batch also you can, okay, your Excel file got to have the required tables. That means the column. Each column, the name of the column must tie to IRB's column name. So once you do that, you fill in all the columns, you convert to XML. You convert to XML and you upload. IRB side, I'm assuming what this is what I think they will do. They will, once they upload, they will process that. They will use the matching to process. That means, for example, let's say if my column A, my first column is invoice number. Some people will type INV and O, but income tax there may not agree. Their identifier number is INVOICE full name. So if this tables doesn't match, you have problem. They may not be able to read. So the identifier, the column identifier, the should be the same. It's just that how we migrate from one accounting software to another accounting software. For example, for the AutoCount will require certain format. They already prefix the format there. You just key in whatever data you need. You cannot have different column identifier number. Let's say customer name. I put CUST and NAME. I put short form, cannot. Maybe the other side they require you to put full CUSTOMER and AME, full customer name, the spelling. So this is what I believe this, you need to have a standardized same. Otherwise you cannot talk. One we're talking about A, the other talking about B. So uploading predefined Excel sheet to portal requires 6 fields to fill, balance, autofill. Okay, this is the supplier issue. This is the processor. Okay, you go. These are the complete process. Now we are going into step by step. Okay, these are the portion of it. Okay, issue invoice is over the second. Creation and submission of E-Invoice. So issuing this is very straightforward. Manual or API, single method or dash. They give you a lot of options. They have to give you options. Okay. Now, okay. My invoice portal. E-invoice validation. This, okay, under my invoice portal, they will do a E-invoice validation. Once validated, supplier will get a validated E-invoice from IRBN using my invoice portal. From the portal, everything goes to the portal. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, included in income tax there will be income tax unit ID number, so that you cannot cheat. The date and time also is only stamped. That means they lock the documents, they lock the time and the date. So, however, an error message will appear for unvalidated invoice. We will give you a message, this is tak betul, not correct, reset again. So I assume this will allow this to happen in the next one when it comes. Okay, let's go to the next process. Okay, supplier send to IRB. Any error, they will return. They will return a validated e-invoice. If there's issue, they will send an error message. Okay. Next, again we will notify the buyer and the supplier through email. So remember the day when they send our supplier send in, they require the email, the main person. So the main person's email box is going to burst if the transaction is not. Okay. Everything, this includes clearance, buyer rejection. If there's any rejection, also we go to the email. So any part that you are not sure yet before I proceed?
So if buyer reject the invoice,
if buyer reject, if the buyer reject, because the process the buyer is also linked to the portal. When I receive the what, they can go in. When I receive the so-called notification, there is a QR code there. I can scan the QR code. I can go into the MyOne's portal there and I look at the details. That means I receive an email with maybe a PDF copy of the e-invoice, and I want to verify whether this PDF copy is the same as the income tax there. I scan the QR code, and QR code will bring me automatically to the MyOne's portal there, the online details. I check, he has to check. If he realize something not right, there is a rejection there for them to so-called to activate the rejection. So rejection is done over the portal, which is why they explain why you have the QR code there. Okay, for example, I receive already, okay, maybe income tax send me the approval invoice. I did receive. How do I send to the customer? I can send any format that you can send PDF. Okay, this is your invoice. So I receive the invoice, I look at it. Is that correct or not? Maybe the price is wrong or the quantity is wrong. I want to reject. I can call the supplier to tell them the mistake, and they do the correction there, or I can straight away reject. I'll go in, I use the QR code, I scan the QR code, I go into the MyOne's portal there, I do a rejection there. Then my income tax will inform the supplier. So it's like, instead of I go direct to you, I go to income tax. If I go direct to you, then if you agree it's wrong, then you go to the income tax there and you correct. You do a correction, or you do the cancellation of the invoice and you upload the new one. So it's either way. I can call you direct, you do the correction yourself, or I can tell the income tax I reject. Income tax will tell you that your customer has rejected. Then you have to go in. Either you cancel the invoice, you have to cancel the invoice and issue a new one.
So when the supplier select cancellation, IRB will notify the buyer also.
Yes.
So cancellation and rejection need to do
On the portal.
okay. And then they need to justify the reason.
Yes.
So meaning if buyer reject, they need to justify. Is supplier amendment also?
Also yes. Everything also must have a reason.
So need to do by
How fast?
How fast?
Within 7
The 72 hours. 72 hours.
means the buyer have 72 hours to reject the invoice, and supplier have 72 hours to cancel the invoice.
So if nothing,
If
action
So-
is set,
So the trick is, this is from our normal workflow. The trick is never submit to the MyOne's portal on Friday.
so 70.
I don't know, I'm not sure because the 72 hours they did not mention is a working day
Oh, no.
or what. I
This holiday eve, Friday, don't submit.
So the trick is never issue within over the weekends, because from my reading of the notes everything, they never mention the 72 hours is working day, or I assume it's not working day because they are this MyOne's portal is live, it's an ongoing process. So they cannot be saying, oh, today I'm public holiday, the portal is closed. No, portal is open all the time. They cannot be closing the portal. There are some companies, let's say for example, some companies they observe Awam Muharram, some they don't observe. They say government is, income tax is observing Awam Muharram. They cannot be closing the one. Business still needs to go on. So I'm assuming it will be a continuous, non-open 24/7. So when they are open 24/7, 72 hours, or it's not working day, it's also inclusive of the Friday and Saturday. So these are the things they don't tell you. You need to know, you need to see ahead. Okay, I cannot. Friday is definitely a no
No.
for your operational just in case if you're, unless you send on the Friday, everything comes back to usability, validated, approved by income tax, and your buyer also agree, then okay.
You never know.
You never know. You never know, see. So these are the things that we will learn as the process go on.
What happens if no action taken after rejection?
No action taken after rejection. That means the buyer rejected, and we didn't do anything. That one, okay, from my understanding level, I believe the invoice will not go through again, because it's rejected again. It's like the invoice is null and void. There's no agreement of the invoice. Income tax cannot be taking. Oh no.
So need to reissue.
No matter how, also you need to reissue.
Means the buyer reject.
And the seller don't do anything.
And buyer reject with a justified reason.
Yes.
IRB accept. Then the supplier did not take any action.
Action, your that sales does not count.
Won't count in.
Won't count in.
So need to reissue.
Maybe you can take a 5-minute break here. Then we'll come back. Then we continue on continuously, because we are at 2.2 only. I still got quite a number of slides to go through, but I think those are all short slides on. Okay, we take a break first.